Hey everybody, Gadget Man here, and I am actually back at home after that nice little 70-some mile hike I did on the Great Smoky Mountains. And today I want to talk about something a little bit different that I don't normally talk to you about, and that's some plant identification here, specifically poison ivy. Definitely one of the scourges of most people find on a trip there. Some people don't know how to identify it. Some people end up running into it and getting infected by it, or I should say, I wouldn't say infected by it, but having an allergic reaction to the poison ivy. And I just want to kind of go over it and help you identify some of the plants. And I've got plenty of it out here, right here at the house. So I'm going to show you. Actually, there's a whole bunch right down over here, and I'm gonna do a little close-up for you to help you identify it. Okay, right here. Here's a great example of poison ivy. Okay, I'm gonna get real close to it. That is a poison ivy plant. 3 leaves, and some of the leaves, especially you can see up in that right-hand side there, it looks like a mitt. That's what you want to avoid. Poison ivy, poison ivy, poison ivy. It likes to lurk in these shady areas a lot of times. It doesn't like necessarily grow out in the sun. Like I can come over here to an area that's really sunny, and there's no poison ivy. But you come back over here to an area that's got kind of shade to it, and there's your poison ivy. Great way to identify it. 3 leaves, and one of them usually looks like a mitt or something like that. So this is what you want to avoid. Now, what poison ivy has on it, it's got an oil on it, and if you touch it, you're going to get this oil. It's going to end up being on your skin, and a lot of times some people have an allergic reaction to it. Okay, one of the big things you want to watch out for is when you're walking along trails, this stuff, like you can see, it's right down here. This whole area right here has got poison ivy. Point to it, it's right over here. It's got poison ivy all over it, okay? You don't want to touch this stuff. And it'll be sitting there along the trail, and if you're not careful, you're going to brush up against it. Or if you are careful, you may brush up against it, especially if you have on things like pants and all that kind of stuff. So, and actually those are one of the 2 ways I want to talk about how to avoid getting poison ivy. The first way that you can avoid getting poison ivy is just don't touch it. Just totally, completely avoid that stuff because, like I said, it gets on you, it itches. It doesn't affect everybody, but it's just a pain in the butt. The second way that you can avoid poison ivy is through barriers. You can keep on long pants, tall socks, those type of things. However, if you do that, you want to be careful. And if you brush up against some poison ivy and you have on long pants or socks, that oil, okay, which is, I'll put the name up here. It's Urasa oil or something like that. It's going to get onto those barriers, be it clothes, socks, or whatever. And it's an oil, so it's going to get into the fabric itself. And then when you go to take off those clothes, if you didn't remember or you weren't careful, you may end up getting that stuff on your hands, and people tend to take their hands and rub their mouths and noses and all that kind of stuff. Not good. You don't want that to happen. So how can you treat poison ivy? Well, I'm not actually going to go into that because I am not a medical professional, so I would recommend what you want to do is you want to go on and talk to a medical professional or some type of medic or something, and they can give you specific treatments for that. However, what I will recommend is that if you are in an area and you do realize that you may have handled poison ivy and it's on your hands, soap and water. That's going to help remove those oils. It's going to help to break it down, and that's going to help to keep it from not being on your skin. And that's what you don't want, because you don't want to be out in town, you don't want to be out on the trail and get poison ivy. It's just a pain in the butt. So with that, today's just going to be a very quick video. I just want to leave you with one last picture. Poison ivy, this is what you want to avoid, okay? Don't touch this stuff. Even if you think you're not allergic to it or not, you can brush up against it and then shake hands or touch somebody else who is allergic to it, and that's no fun. So hey, that's it. Gadget Man discovering in color. Glad you could make it. Thanks a lot for watching.